Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 5, Wine and Wellness Podcast, episode number 5. This one may kind of hit home to a lot of people. I hope that it kind of opens some people's eyes of some things that we have going on in our society, going on in our community, going on around the world. So with Wine and Wellness, I started Wine and Wellness about a good 3 months ago, and it kind of has derived from a few things. And one of them is we started doing podcasts, and we started getting into the more healthier mental health, not just physical, but into the mental health with people, and trying to see what makes them tick nowadays, kind of trying to let them see where they can get help if they need help. Maybe finding a way to where they just inside themselves, they could do a little soul searching. You know, a lot of things that they have out there, a lot of tools that they have out there today that can help them recognize what may be going on inside themselves. Like I say, this is episode number 5, so we're definitely excited. We're through the month. This is November 1st. So we're definitely doing good things, I feel like. So I have a guest here that I'm very excited to introduce to you guys. She is a mental health therapist, and she works with a lot of people. I'm gonna let her kind of introduce herself and go into what she does, and you guys just sit back and take notes and take it all in, and just hear what she has to say, and maybe it may be some help. It may be some help for you guys, or it may be some help for somebody that you guys know. So, Miss Charmaine Mattocks, how are you?
I am great. I'm really happy to be here and be able to share some things that I know as a mental health therapist with our community. So I'm Charmaine Mattocks. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I'm licensed in the state of Texas, and I'm licensed in the state of Florida. I have been previously licensed also in the state of Georgia. So I've practiced in all 3 of those states. And I've been in the field, I know I look young, but I've been in the field for about 17 years. Most specifically in mental health in the last 10. So I've done mental health with kids, I've done mental health with families, individuals, couples. So I work currently right now for a group practice called ThriveWorks. Okay. It is a national group practice, so we have offices in like 25 states. So
wow.
And so I currently am a staff therapist for them, and so I see individuals, couples, families, teens. Kind of I've done most of my profession with smaller, younger children, so I'm kind of like teens, adults, couples right now.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I thought maybe I needed some mental health things going on in my life. I don't know. I still do. I probably do. I think we do. I really do. So, this podcast, we named it after COVID. Who's really okay? So we're gonna go into some things. We're gonna delve into some topics and stuff like that, and just kind of see where people may be, and talk about some things that may be significant to their lifestyle. Maybe they have family members, maybe they have, or they just know friends, maybe they just want to know. A lot of people just want information nowadays. So we're going to give them some information. We're going to talk about it a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Wine and Wellness, we got to introduce you. I know you guys see the bottles and stuff here. So, Ms. Charmaine, tell me so you've been to Casks Flights, right?
I have been to Casks.
And you kind of went through some of the things that you guys see in the background here. Yes. Yeah? You got a favorite?
I do. I really liked this chocolate, it's called? Chocolate shop. Yeah, and I remembered it. I was like, this has a really good taste. I'm not like a bitter dry wine person. I kind of like the sweet wines. I don't know if that's typical, but I do.
It's kind of typical.
It is, okay.
It is typical. Okay. They start out sweet. And they always drink a lot of sweet wine. We got 2 cases of just sweet wine. So I've never had a chocolate flavored wine. So that just kind of sparked my interest. You like chocolate?
I do.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, I guess so.
The chocolate shop is a favorite. It reminds me of a chocolate covered cherry. So it's not it's not the milk chocolate. You don't get the milkiness. It's more of a wine infused chocolate, and it gets a little cherry flavor. It's a really nice wine. Like I say, I cannot not have this wine. I have to have this wine in this place. They will not let me not have it. I get all kinds of messages and emails and calls.
Right.
Yeah. So it's definitely a favorite. Yeah. I like it too. Well, so getting back into the mental health thing, so we have a wide range of people, and we're thinking that a lot of people, why do you think they either don't want help or they do not seek help, or how do you feel as far as people that love, that go about their day and knowing that something may be wrong, but they may not seek help. What are your thoughts on that?
I think some people, there's some fears there. They don't want to say that they need help because it may sound like a sign of weakness to people if they have to say they need help and then go out and seek help. But I like to try to say, like, mental health is like, you go to your physical every year, right? You go to get checked up.
Right.
You go to make sure your body's working okay.
Yeah.
Things are going. Same thing with mental health. Get a check-in. Doesn't mean necessarily something's wrong with you.
Gotcha.
Or something catastrophic has happened.
Right.
But it may just be like, hey, let me just check in with a therapist, kind of share my thoughts that might be going on. Just like a checkup. You can start there.
I got you. So, when you said that definitely puts it in perspective for a lot of people. So you have just wellness checks that you do when you go see your doctor.
Absolutely.
I went to see my doctor. Well, I got a new doctor, and I went to see him, and they just kind of checked me up. They just kind of, went through some of the emotions that I go through, that men go through. So you can actually just do a checkup.
Just do a checkup.
So I need to have a mental therapist on retainer.
You can. Nothing wrong with that. Definitely nothing wrong with that. Not all of my clients are coming in for, catastrophic, traumatic, severe depression and anxiety. Okay. Sometimes it's just life transitions. Sometimes they're moving to a new job. Sometimes they're getting out of a relationship or moving across country.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong with you.
Gotcha.
You come in for mental health checkup.
That's the stigma. They think, mental therapists means
is a weakness.
Yes, like, oh, something's wrong with me. Something may be going on with me that I'm scared and I don't want to know exactly what's going on. But it may not even be that. It may not even be as worse as they think it is. Exactly. It may be pretty easy. It may be something that says, look, that's pretty normal.
Right. And you need some guidance, some insight, as we call it in the therapy
insight.
world. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. A little insight. I need more of insight. That's right.
But there's definitely other barriers, to why people, besides the fear or being afraid to ask for help. Sometimes in certain communities, sometimes in communities of color or minority or lower income, economic income status communities, there's a lack of resources. So there's not therapists in that community. Or there's not a community mental health agency in that community. Or you have a rural area where they're miles and miles away from any type of therapy. Luckily, one of the good things that came out of COVID is that we're now able to access people anywhere, right? So we're doing telehealth. I do telehealth.
Okay.
So I work from home. I live here in Florida, but I have clients that live in Texas because I'm licensed in Texas. So you can see people anywhere. So that barrier COVID has helped to kind of break that barrier of not having access to those resources.
Is that pretty effective?
Telehealth? I think so. I've been doing it for over a year and a half now. Okay. Now I will be honest. I do like face-to-face, in-person therapy. But I try to be very in tune in therapy, just to kind of see nonverbal cues as much as I can see through a computer screen.
Gotcha.
But that is one aspect that you do miss, is that you kind of can read people a little bit better in person.
Body language in person, yeah. If you see some crazy stuff on telehealth, like, the kids running around, that's kind of off topic.
I've met
kids. In on you trying to do a telehealth.
I've definitely met kids. I've met pets. I've met grandmas and aunties.
Oh, I didn't know you was on a call.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, just give me 5 more minutes. They come in there half dressed.
Right.
That's just, that's how I like.
Definitely kids walking by, cats walking by, all good. But yeah, so lack of resources, like I said, COVID has kind of broken that down a little bit more because we can do telehealth. Some is financial burdens, right? So it does cost to go to therapy, right?
Ooh, can you give me like a, I'm trying to tell you, I'm patting my pocket. Can you give me like a, if I, session,
it
what it can range, man?
It depends because some people use their insurance, right?
Okay.
But some communities or some people don't have access to insurance. So what do you do then, right? So yes, therapy does cost. Most people, like I said, they go through insurance, so they usually have a copay. So whatever your general copay is for mental health therapy is what you'll pay, right?
This is a specialist, though. So
yeah, it's a specialist, but it's under your mental health coverage, usually under.
I need to check my insurance.
Yeah,
I got some mental health stuff.
Yeah, and it also depends on what type of therapist you see. Whether you see a psychologist, which we call a PsyD, if you see a LPC, which is a licensed professional counselor, or you see someone like me, a licensed clinical social worker. So there's different licenses, and it depends on what your insurance covers and all that bureaucracy. But I mean, I have clients, some people pay nothing. Some health insurances cover the whole thing, or some people pay like $25, $35, $50. It depends. It depends on your on your insurance. Coverage.
I got you. Okay. So get that insurance too, guys. If y'all have it, I don't know. I can't help you. Take a donation to church or something. I don't know.
Some therapists will have what we call a sliding scale. So based on your income, they can give you what we hope to be an affordable amount per session if you don't have insurance per se.
They working with us, y'all.
We working with y'all.
Let me put some on, right? Let me put some towards the bill.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, in the mental health, and you've seen a lot. Especially now, you say you've been doing telehealth now for almost a year and a half and things like that. So now that COVID has kind of taken a turn, I'd say for the better. People are out more. They're getting vaccinated. They're doing a lot of outdoorsy things. Coming back around people. So we're back congregating a little bit. The vaccination is in place, and some people feel like they don't want to get it. Some people feel like they do. But what are some of the challenges? What are some of the mental health things that you're seeing now after COVID? With people, we could pick a demographic, and we don't. We can just kind of take it just general. Whatever.
I will say in general across all demographics, race, age, socioeconomic status, I will say that people are experiencing mainly anxiety symptoms and depression symptoms. Gotcha. That's what I've seen the most of. Right. There has been a little uptake too in like alcohol use or alcohol abuse.
I'm in that industry. I'm in the alcohol industry, right? So I get these little things, and they say, alcohol sales are up. They were like, alcohol sales are through the roof. Some people can't keep stuff in stock so much. That's not, I don't know if that's good or bad. It's not that good.
I mean, maybe good for the business aspect of it, right. Maybe not so good as a coping mechanism.
Right.
Nothing wrong with, having a glass of wine, having a drink, having a cocktail, nothing wrong with that as long as it's done responsibly in moderation. But what we don't want clients to do is use it as a coping mechanism. Because what happens? Every time I'm sad, I take a drink. Every time I'm just, anxious, I take a drink. We don't want it to be used as a coping mechanism, because what that does is only potentially increase your opportunities to use alcohol or to drink alcohol, and that can, depending on the person, exacerbate, whatever symptoms they may be having, or it will hide those symptoms that they're having. So we don't want to use alcohol as a coping mechanism.
Gotcha. No, you're right.
But there's definitely been an uptake in that. Unfortunately, I will say what I've seen, like TV, society, people will do that. You know, if you watch movies and stuff like that, people are stressed out. They don't know what to do. What do? They go to the alcohol cabinet for themselves a drink, right?
The wine.
The
wine's got us. No, definitely. And I've seen, more and more of just people in here when they come in here in Casks Flights, and they're just talking to me. First they say they're just glad to be out. They're glad to be here. And then they talk about some of the things that may have happened, and you naturally feel sad. And one thing that I don't know if I've actually felt this per se, but we've had a lot of death with COVID, and people are going through things and stuff like that, and you hear it over and over again. You hear it over and over again. You hear a family member, you hear a friend, you hear just people dying. Now, does that make you kind of numb? I mean, I'm just asking you, but it's just something that crossed my mind when we were talking about after COVID, and it's like, man, okay, such and such passed a minute ago, and then you're like, oh man, okay, I hate it. Okay, well, let me go on back to what I'm doing, because it's going to happen now. You know that it's going to be a lot of death. They was on the ventilator, they was on something, trying to save it, and then it didn't happen, and it's like, man, I feel bad, but we got to keep moving. We know that it's going to happen. That kind of hits home with me, in people dealing with the mental health part of it. I don't want to be numb. I want to still empathize and sympathize with people when it comes to things like that. And I know it's going to happen, but I still want to be there. I still want to be a natural person. I guess that really just depends on me, but
Yeah, but I think, yes, we have experienced a lot of death. And so in what we call the grief process, there is a step or a part of the cycle that is depression, and sadness, and anger. And these are the emotions that we want to stay aware of. Because, yes, we are experiencing not only death losses, but losses of people engagement. There's been things that, like my daughter, she graduated high school in 2020. She didn't have graduation. She didn't have a prom. She didn't have a goodbye to her friends because of COVID. So we're grieving a lot of losses, not only of losses of life, but losses of experiences, losses of events, things that we couldn't do.
Right.
And so within that grief process, there is what we call depression or anger. So those are some feelings that we have because of the effects of COVID.
Gotcha.
And it's heavy.
It is heavy. It wears on me. It wears on a lot of people. And, it's just one of those things where when I hear about it and people are talking and people are having conversations, like, my mother, and she's trying to tell me things about, and I get so involved in the day where I feel like maybe I don't have time. But I'm just speaking on myself, I guess I'm having a little therapy session right here on the chair, but I don't want to get so engulfed in my day to where I don't take the time out to relate, even see somebody and what they're going through, talk to them. I'm bad with phone calls, and I'm bad with returning people's calls. I'm bad with checking in with people. And I'm busy, but I shouldn't be too busy. I got to work on that. I really do. I really got to work on that. Yeah.
I think it's important to take those moments, right? And the moment doesn't have to be, engulf your whole day. You know what I'm saying? But take moments with people. Take moments for yourself, and being like, how am I feeling today? Like, what's going on with me, right? Yeah. So, especially within this kind of grief, depression, symptoms, sadness, anxiety, you have to take those moments. Take a moment. But
man, that's good. No, it's wonderful. I got to take those moments. So you touched on homeschooling and stuff like that with the kids. Do you see a lot of you do see some kids, and are they okay? I mean, how they kids?
They're experiencing the same thing we're experiencing. The one thing, like I said, most of my career has been with kids and families, is that kids are very resilient. They're much more resilient than we are, probably because they don't know.
That's
They don't know the world.
That's true.
They don't know the world yet, so it's a lot easier for them to quote unquote bounce back. But no, they're still experiencing like that grief. You know, they don't get to see their friends. They don't get to experience, you know, proms or homecomings or you know, any of those things. So they do experience that anxiety and depressive symptoms that we too as adults, I would say they're a lot more resilient than we are.
Gotcha.
But you know, they need help in being able to cope and being able to deal with it, because they don't, that's the part of their cognitive development that they don't have, is the ability to know what to do to cope. Whereas we as adults kind of have an idea sometimes.
What do you do? I mean, like one thing that you say that maybe kind of help, and it doesn't have to be related to COVID, but maybe, you know, talking after, you know, maybe a couple sessions with maybe a child, and you see that they may be struggling from something. Is it a key thing that you may make them relate to, depending on what it is? I mean, that what makes them feel good, or, you know, if it's a depression thing or something like that, is it something that you have a go-to thing to where you say, you know what, let's try this exercise? You know, different exercises that you go through with them and make them see where they can feel better.
Yeah, the main thing with kids or teenagers, school age children, is that they need structure, right? So what I usually do with, you know, my kids, my preteens, my teens, is really try to create a pseudo structure for them, right? Because since kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, their life has been pretty structured, right? They wake up in the morning, they go to school, they come home, they do homework, they, you know, play with their friends or whatever they do. And so now they don't have that anymore. COVID took that away. So now they're at home just looking around, maybe on Zoom, you know, they camera off, rolling around the bed, whatever. So what I have done with my school age clients is that I do help them to create a structure, in a routine.
In a new routine. That's good. That's good. We need a new routine. I know the parents, they going through some things too, with the kids being home and having to teach them and having to get them up and get them set in front of the camera where they can go to school, you know, virtually and things like that. I like it. I mean, I like it. I like that, you know, you can be there and kind of help out with that. That aspect of it.
We do need the parents to help, though, reinforce that structure. You know what I'm saying? So I could give them a structure and a routine, but obviously, you know, we need some help with that. So I do bring parents in and tell them, like, hey, these are the things that we've talked about. Let's try to make sure that that child stays on task.
Yeah, and they like, man, I ain't had that drink yet. You don't know, I got to deal with my kid. Where that wine, that bottle of wine at again? I need that wine.
We can't use that as a coping skill all the time.
I deal with these kids. I need that bottle. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I get it. It's a challenge. But you know, parents, y'all hang in there. Y'all hang in there with the kids. They are kids. We need them. We definitely do need them. So we got certain mental illness things with genders and stuff like that. Do you see mental illness, you know, prevalent in more gender, age, race, age?
I will say mental health is no respecter. Gender, age, race, creed, anything. Anybody could be susceptible to it. But if you want to get technical, age is one of the determining factors when we diagnose someone, right, with whatever kind of disorder. And certain disorders you can't diagnose until a certain age, right? So typically, we don't diagnose anybody under 5. Anything. Right.
That's just 5. You don't even know what know what they feel like.
Not at all. And plus 5 is like school age, is when they get, start going to school.
I got you. They interacting and doing more.
Right. You see more things. So you don't really diagnose anybody under 5. Now there is some caveat to that, like children on the autism spectrum can be diagnosed younger. But typically 5 and up. And in 5-year-olds, you're gonna see maybe some type of ADHD or something like that, or something dealing with any kind of educational deficits. You'll see those presenting in that age group. Any kind of more severe mental health issues, like schizophrenia or bipolar, usually don't diagnose anybody under 18. or personality disorders, like a narcissistic personality disorder or borderline personality disorder, you don't diagnose that under 18.
That's interesting. Because I feel like, that would be an early sign somewhere. They did
you
something
might
with
see
something.
Signs.
Okay.
You might see signs, but you won't get that diagnosed until you're over 18. Any type of personality disorder, you usually won't diagnose until they're 18. Now, they may have what we call a conduct disorder or oppositional defiant disorder.
Okay.
You can diagnose in those teenage years or younger, but they won't be diagnosed with any kind of personality disorder until they're over 18.
Till you're over 18, okay.
And usually, like I said, schizophrenia, bipolar, sometimes we'll do it in the teenage years, depending on how very prevalent it is. But usually you won't have what we call your first episode until you're an adult. You'll see it in maybe the early to mid 20s, even sometimes into their 30s.
Schizophrenia, what kind of thing to watch out for? I mean, I don't know.
So some of the
I know a couple of schizos around here right now.
Some of the
in the building.
Some of the typical symptoms of someone who experiences schizophrenia, they either have hallucinations or delusions. Those could be
hearing stuff,
hearing things that nobody else hears, seeing things that nobody else sees. A lot of paranoia, they think, the people people are watching me through my phone or through the TV. Those type of belief systems are what we diagnose as kind of in the schizophrenia.
You walking down the hallway and you see something, or you think you see somebody and nobody else sees it. Yeah. And and again, it's a little bit more than that. Sometimes people will hear voices and voices will instruct them to do things and tell them to do things, and they believe them. And so that's what we call auditory hallucinations. You're hearing things or hearing voices, or you see visual hallucinations, you see things or people that aren't there. Wow. Yeah. Man. That's, I think about this, because, everybody, they dream, they have dreams, they have things, and I know that may be totally different. And, you have, mentally, everybody has things going on in their mind. So, I mean, is it on an ongoing basis? Because, I feel like something has talked to me and tell me. I know it's some spiritual stuff I do and things like that too. You just kind of have to pretty much pray and recognize that. But I guess you can decipher. You know when something is not right.
And it's usually pretty consistent. People also, that's why I think some of those are generalizations. Usually when you're having, or you're schizophrenic and you have auditory or visual hallucinations, you're not able to maintain a regular status of life or daily functioning, right? So you're not able really to work. These voices tell you not to go to work, or they tell you to do other things. You're not able to, when people have a diagnosis, when we diagnose someone with something, it usually has to affect their ability of daily living.
Gotcha.
Right? So that's one of, again, the determining factors. Yeah, you might hear things or you might talk to yourself. People say that all the time. That's not necessarily hearing voices. People who are schizophrenic and are hearing voices, it is constant, and it prevents them from being able to, what we say, be stable and kind of normally function, have a job, have friends, that kind of stuff.
I was going to say, because I know these TikTok videos out there, and they got people sitting in their car like, I don't want to go on to work and deal with people and all this stuff, and they're going off. They're not schizo. But if I see it, I'm walking by the car and I see it, and they just in there, I ain't going in there dealing with these people today. And I'm like,
they talking to themselves.
They just talking to them. I shouldn't diagnose them. I shouldn't have them I shouldn't give them your card. Okay, they all right. Okay. Y'all safe. Now go in there and go to work.
Yeah,
that's good. Well, in your opinion, the medicine. So they prescribe things to people. They they want them to feel better, but they also want to help. So medicine wise, in your opinion, do you think that medicine is actually a help with depression or whatever you may be suffering from, or do you think some of it may be just coping, just to like, look, you have this, I'm gonna give you something to where you can just kind of, these fits won't happen so much, and you know, your anxiety, you won't have so much anxiety, because you're gonna have anxiety. I think everybody has anxiety. Everybody goes through some type of anxiety. So what would you say? Medicine, is it helping? Is it stuff out there that, you know, you got Zoloft and all this other stuff out there that you give? Does it actually help?
So there's different categories.
Okay.
All right. So there's different categories of medication that treat different things. I am not a psychiatrist. I do not prescribe medication, but I have general understanding of what medication treats what, diagnoses.
Is that something that you ask when they come in, or like, you know, what medication are you on? Absolutely. You gotta know that, because I don't want to trigger a fit.
No, you won't trigger a fit, but it is good to know what kind of medication they're on. Okay. So I'll just give you some of the three general categories. We have antipsychotics, we have antidepressants, and anti-anxieties. Gotcha. So antipsychotics usually deal with people who have mood disorders. Mood disorders are some of the things that we talked about, like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. Right. Those type of diagnoses, you have to be on medication.
Gotcha.
You have to be on medication.
Man, I know a few bipolar people.
Yes.
I might be.
Everybody thinks they're bipolar. Like, one minute I'm happy, one minute I'm sad, and I must be bipolar. No. It looks a lot different than that.
Yeah.
It looks a lot different than that.
Yeah. And it's the medication you have to be.
You have to be. For those are antipsychotics, right? So the antipsychotics help a schizophrenic person to not hear voices or to not see things that aren't there, right? Gotcha. It helps people who are bipolar to level out what we call their manic and depressive episodes. It helps them to stabilize.
Right.
Okay? So when you have those type of diagnoses, yes, absolutely 150%, you have to be on medication.
Have you seen some bipolar?
Yeah, I've got bipolar clients.
Depressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they okay.
Yeah. If they take their medication.
You know when you're talking to them, hey,
when they're not,
have you taken your medicine today?
And sometimes they'll tell you.
Sometimes they do.
Because what happens, especially what I see in bipolar disorder, is that they take their medicine and they think, hey, I'm good, I'm fine. Yeah. I don't need it anymore. Right. And then they stop taking it, and then they have an episode. Whether it be a manic episode or a depressive episode.
They don't know when it's coming. It just kind of happens, and
it's a chemical. So schizophrenia, bipolar, depression as well. Some of the other diagnoses, it's a chemical imbalance in your brain, and so you need the medication to stay balanced. So absolutely, like I said, 150%. People who are schizophrenic, people who are bipolar have to be on medication.
Gotcha. So you got those that the medicine have to be,
100%.
and it's working for them, and as long as they're taking it, it works for them. Yes. And then you have some that, I guess, is it just something else that just like?
So you have, like I said, the antidepressants and you have anti-anxiety, right?
Anti-anxiety.
And so with antidepressants, anti-anxiety, my personal, this is Charmaine Mattocks, LCSW, personal opinion about it. For some people, and there's ADHD, so there's people who suffer with ADHD are another one, especially if it's extreme, they have to be on medication. Okay, sorry, I should have said that as well. But anxiety and depression can be a little tricky. And when I say tricky is that some people have severe depression where it significantly affects their ability of daily functioning. Like they can't go to work, they can't get out of bed, right? And so people like that, I would probably, if they're in a severe depression, they're having suicidal thoughts, maybe even attempts at suicide, to get them stabilized, yes, medication.
The medicine works, I think. Yeah. I mean, you just never know. You don't never know.
And anti-anxiety are people who have panic attacks a lot, or can't go to work because they're still very worried, they're still very tense, they're still very anxious. I would say medication helps. Again, sorry, let me put this caveat. My personal opinion, Charmaine Carr, LCSW, is I like to work from a therapeutic standpoint first. What kind of things can we do in therapy behaviorally to help manage your symptoms? And if that is not enough, then let's now we can talk about maybe getting some medication to kind of help. I actually had a client I've been working with her maybe about a year and a half so far. She's had, she's able to kind of function daily, but she has episodes of depression that kind of get her really low. And so we've done behavioral things, but she just got to a really low point. I said, all right, I think maybe now's the time we want to try some medication to kind of help take the edge off. But
therapeutic things in place, that way these may help you not have to take medication. This may help you, in the long run, you keep doing these and we can maybe kind of
wean off medication. Or not institute it at all.
Gotcha.
And those are probably some of the less severe cases.
Okay. I'm a less.
You're less.
I like to try to exercise.
Yeah.
You may be some breathing things that I can do.
There's other outlets, other techniques that you can use.
Yeah, I could probably do that. I think that's probably where we do. So, are there any, let's say, these mild cases? So you can do it yourself. So it's some things out there, like you say, you can kind of tell them you're a mental therapist. Hey, try this. Try these little things like that. Not pinching yourself or self-inflicting anything on yourself.
Yeah.
Let's try to breathing techniques.
Yeah.
So it's some do-it-yourself mental things. So what else that people can do? Like, let's say now we're dealing with a lot of COVID things. What may be some things that people can do to kind of maybe help them?
So the same thing I do with kids are some of the same things I do with adults. Okay. Right? So remember I talked about kids needing structure and routine? Yeah. Sometimes we do too, right? We have a structure and routine of going to work. We get up, we go to work, we come home, we may go work out, we may cook dinner. So we have a routine too. COVID took that away from us.
That's true.
So what we have to do and what I've done with clients is institute a pseudo routine, a pseudo schedule, depending on what that person needs will determine how strict or how rigid that routine is.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Some people really thrive off of, from 9 to 10, I'm going to be doing this. From 10 to 11, I'm going to be doing that. Some people need, blocks of time. Like from 9 to 12, I'll do this kind of stuff. But we also talk about things that, like working out, like the outlet of working out, like we talked about. It's a big thing for a lot of people. They really enjoy that release of endorphins that they get from working out. A lot of people do stuff outside, go outdoors and do stuff, fresh air. We need that vitamin D.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get our bodies and our minds clear. Definitely. So those are things that, we try to implement as outlets to help you manage whatever anxiety or depressive symptoms that you may be doing. But I'll say two things that are very big exacerbators of any type of symptoms. Okay. And that's appetite, food, and sleeping, and sleep.
So people that's not getting a lot of rest.
If you're not sleeping well, if you're not eating well, they just make whatever you're thinking and whatever you're feeling.
You start hallucinating.
You
might be a schizo if you're not getting enough sleep. You start seeing things, hearing voices. You gotta get your rest. Goodness. I know a few people that are just not sleeping, and they, and then they talk to me, and I'm like, you ain't went to sleep yet, have you?
Yeah, sleeping and eating, and especially with COVID, we've been home a lot, so a lot of times we're eating more. Right?
Yeah,
we're eating more. A lot of weight gain. People have gotten weight gain.
Okay, Wine and Wellness. That means come out to Wine and Wellness, and we can work these pounds off you. Oh my God! Right.
Or they're not eating at all. They're not eating well. Or they're snacking through the day. They're not really eating balanced meals, and that can just exacerbate whatever you're thinking, whatever you're feeling. And if you're not getting enough sleep. No. You ever seen those Snickers commercials when it's like, you're not you when you're hungry?
You turn into a diva.
All right. It's the same thing.
I'm at least
real.
2 divas a day.
It's real.
I hadn't eaten today, y'all.
For real.
And it's not my fault, and I'm drinking. I don't know what to say.
We gotta get some food in there.
Okay. I might be something might happen to me. Be somebody else at the end of the day.
It's true though.
Yeah.
I always ask clients, tell me what you're eating schedule is like. Tell me what your sleep schedule is like.
So it's a whole regimen like you go through. You have a whole thing that you go through.
Well, when I talk with clients, yes, I do what we call an intake assessment or a biopsychosocial. So I gain a lot of background history from them. I kind of ask them what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what kind of symptoms they're feeling.
Gotcha.
And then we kind of go from there.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you guys, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about a wide range of things today. And I want to thank Ms. Charmaine Maddox for coming on and talking to us about a little mental health. Hopefully you gain some insight on some things. Go get checked out. Like I say, you can do it. Insurance may pay for it. You know, it may be, it may be a copay or something like that, but just go get checked out. We all need it. I'm thinking about trying to figure out where I can go because I feel like I need to see somebody about something that I got going on. Why I feel like I gotta be at work all the time, I may not. I may need a vacation. I may need to get a chance to take a vacation, like some other people. Vacation is good. I love it. I love to be able to take a vacation.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to say to, maybe just kind of to the audience out there and just let them know some things about you or some things about what we talked about or how to find you?
So I am on Psychology Today, psychologytoday.com. You go look there. If you look on thriveworks.com, exactly. I'm listed in the Texas region right now, but I'm on there and you can find other therapists in your area there. I love Psychology Today because you can every therapist on there has a profile. So you get to see a picture, you get to see a website, you get to see what insurances they take, you can see what specialties they do, and so that's a really great resource if you are looking for a mental health therapist in your area. Psychologytoday.com. There's another one called Therapy for Black Girls if you are in the African American female community. That's also another website that you can go to that caters to Black females in your community. And they have a list of therapists there as well.
I did not know that. What about the Black men? Anything?
You can go to Black Therapy for Black Girls too. They have Black women on there too. Some Black men on there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm really happy to know and to hear that people in, minority communities, obviously the African American community,
right.
We're really starting to break that stigma of, not asking for help and just pray about it.
Right.
And, what I'm saying? Like, you can pray, you can go to Jesus and have a therapist too.
That's
Nothing
true.
wrong with that, right?
That's it. We can pray together.
Absolutely. So I'm really happy to see that stigma being broken down. I think part of it has to do with Black people going into the profession. Right? And so the more of us there are in the profession, the more there will be of you all coming to us.
I love it.
So
we like to feel comfortable.
Exactly. It's kind of harder to tell your story to someone that you feel may not be able to fully relate to it. Right.
I definitely.
So absolutely breaking that stigma, breaking that barrier, especially for the Black men. I'm really passionate about that one.
I think we're on our way. We're going to break that stigma. I love it. Well, Ms. Charmaine, I really appreciate you for coming on and talking to us about mental health. Absolutely. And you guys, like I say, the topic is after COVID, are you really okay? And go find out. We got lots of resources out here that are here for us today, and just take advantage of it. And we just want you to be a better you. That kind of wraps it up for us today.
Right.
I love it.
Sounds good. I get to sip on my chocolate wine now.
You do. And I also, every guest that comes on, I would like to present them with a bottle of wine. So since you do love chocolate shop so much, I want to send this home with you.
Absolutely.
So you can enjoy, after a long day of listening.
Not COVID with alcohol.
No, don't cope with alcohol. This is maybe just, you're like, I need this bottle of wine now. I just got finished up. Just a wind down.
Absolutely.
Just a wind down. Let's leave it at the wind down.
Okay.
I like it. Well, you guys, thank y'all for tuning in with us today. And, check us out. We're here every Monday. So we'll see you guys next Monday.